Bom, pessoal, estamos terminando aqui o Kanban Global Summit. Hoje foi o último dia do KLR, Kanban Leadership Retreat. Quem está aqui comigo é o homem, é o David Anderson. And we are just finishing our stuff here, wine. And this is the atmosphere of the conference here. It's the KLR. And David, the first question is, why do you put this KLR together? Why do you have this kind of this conference? What is the purpose of that?
Okay, so we started these, it's now 11 years ago,
yes,
right? 2011. And the reason was, first of all, I wanted a conference I could attend because back then we were always organizing and I was so busy and we'd run these conferences and I couldn't find any time to go to the sessions. And the second thing was that I was really afraid that the Kanban body of knowledge would get stuck, that would stop evolving, and that we'd sort of degrade to dogma and just following prescription. And there needed to be an event where we could get people with experience and people who are out using Kanban in a room together where they could talk about what's working, what isn't working, ideas they've got, problems they need solving.
Yeah, some information from the battlefield, right?
Absolutely. And that we would be able to move our body of knowledge forward. And that's really happened.
Yep.
Over the years, people have come along and consequence of sessions at KLRs have been things like, originally it was called the Depth of Kanban Assessment Framework, and that was a challenge to just the depth of Kanban, where to visualize, limit WIP, manage flow, make policies explicit, so on. And someone came, his name's Håkan Fors, he came to a session and he said, I want to challenge this, I don't think it's a linear thing. So the outcome of those sessions was a new thing called Depth of Kanban Assessment Framework. And we used that for a few years. Then we realized that we needed something even better. And what emerged out of that was the Kanban maturity model.
So it's just an evolution of something that someone challenged me, something that like this conference?
So these events are for people to explore new ideas, to challenge existing ideas, and just to share experiences and hopefully help each other. We, as a community, and the Kanban method itself, it becomes much more resilient because we're willing to share experience.
This is such a strong message for the Brazilians because you know that you're not a guru of Kanban, right? You are sharing your knowledge. I know that most of the things are your IP, but there are a lot of completely for other people. I remember that one of the sessions in KLR, I think that Static come out from Mike Burrows. I remember the first discussion that we had about fit for purpose out emerging something like a session like in KLR. I don't remember, I think it was 2015 or 16. I remember that I was there, and it's really valuable. This is something that I think this is the best part of the
It is the engine that's been driving our IP forward. Usually not like, we didn't create the fit for purpose framework at the KLR, but we developed the idea that you know whether a change is an improvement based on whether it's fitter for the environment. And then afterwards, maybe a month later, Alexei contacts me and he says, we should get together and try and write this down. Maybe create a little pamphlet, a little essential fit for purpose guide. And I said to him, well, why don't you come out, live at my house for a week? And that happened the beginning of August 2017. And he came out, lived, and we realized we didn't know how to write a small book. So we spent a week and we produced 25,000 words of what became the Fit for Purpose 90,000 word book. So often it's a follow-up session, same with the KMM. The first development of the KMM, Teodora was at the KLR and she said, why don't we stay an extra 2 days at the venue and we'll get one of the meeting rooms, we'll talk to the hotel, and we can sit and try to figure out the outline of a maturity model. She thought that was a good idea and she wanted to pursue it. I had time that weekend, so we stayed longer. But there had to be other follow-up meetings afterwards.
Of course. And it's great that this kind of discussion emerged with community and all this stuff. Okay. Next question. We see that Kanban is evolving. You know, I've been with this community for more than 10 years. And what do you think that is the future? You know, there's something that we speak at my session here. Maybe there's crisis, maybe there's a fall of Agile. Why do you think that is going to evolve after that?
Well, there's lots of different trends we see in the market. Now, of course, we're living in some difficult times. There's been a pandemic, there's a war on, there's global recession coming. So it's been hard to predict for businesses, right? It's tough. However, we definitely see some early signs that Kanban's becoming a technique that can be widely used across all sorts of industries. We have people approaching us and saying, hey, you know, I'm a lawyer, but I'm kind of retired, and I love this Kanban stuff. I want to teach Kanban to law firms and legal services. Or I'm an accountant, and but I don't really do accounting anymore, but I'd love to sell Kanban training to accountants. So we're seeing these vertical market solutions like flavors of our Kanban training appearing, and it's an accountant teaching accountants Kanban and a lawyer teaching lawyers Kanban.
Nice.
So that's one of the trends that we see, and I think the work we've done on the maturity model, we've now got 1,250 KCPs around the world and quite a few in Brazil already. Some great work there in building that community. And those people are out evangelizing the organizational maturity, and it's pragmatic and actionable, and they know how to achieve it. And as we mature the market, that enables scale. So we're seeing a lot more bigger scale implementations. Hundreds of people, thousands of people, tens of thousands of people in some cases. And that's beginning to make some real economic impacts for companies. I think we're going to see more of that. And actually, although it's a bit scary that there could be this global recession, it could really be good for us, because Kanban helps companies be more resilient, and we know that it improves their economic performance. And in a recession, everyone's going to need that. They're going to need resilience, they're going to need improved economic performance. And I believe that that's going to help Kanban grow in popularity despite the tough economy.
Yeah, I hope so. So let's finish. Would you like to say some words for the Brazilian community? You are coming to Kanban Brazil, right? Next month?
I'm coming to Kanban Brazil.
Again, after what? 3 years?
It's been 3 years. Yes. I'm thrilled to be back in Brazil. I love coming to Brazil. So I'll see some of you folks in São Paulo in September, but I'm coming back again in November for 2 weeks.
Oh, flash news.
There is a 3rd edition of Fit for Purpose finished.
Yes.
And
you said that there might be a Brazilian translation of that. Right?
A lady we know from Rio de Janeiro called Carla Bertrand has translated it into Portuguese. So we are launching the 3rd edition of Fit for Purpose in Brazil in November. And we haven't planned the details yet, but I'm doing a book tour. We'll do São Paulo, Rio de Janeiro, maybe a couple of other cities.
Nice.
And I'm really looking forward to doing that and meeting you all, and maybe we'll have some books to give out.
Okay. Thank you, David.
No, it's a pleasure.
The rest of your
Thank you for coming.
Yes.